The hungry stranger in a distant village nestled between the mountains, there lived a traveler who had journeyed far and wide. After days of walking through dense forests and rugged terrain, his body was weak and his stomach ached with hunger. His eyes, once bright with the spirit of adventure, were now dim with exhaustion. As he stumbled into the village, the smell of freshly cooked food filled the air, igniting a desperate hope within him. With trembling hands, the traveler knocked on the first door he saw. A middle-aged woman opened it, her face stern and unwelcoming. "Please," the traveler begged, "I have not eaten in days. Could you spare some food?" The woman's eyes narrowed as she glanced at the tattered clothes and dirt-covered face of the stranger. "I barely have enough for my own," she snapped. "Go away." The door slammed shut, echoing the coldness of her heart. The traveler, though disheartened, refused to give up. He knocked on the next door, then another, and another, each time met with rejection. "I have nothing to give," said one man, his voice devoid of sympathy. "You should have planned better," said another, shaking his head dismissively. The traveler's hope dwindled with each refusal, his strength waning. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the village as the cold night began to creep in. The traveler, now shivering and barely able to stand, reached the last house at the edge of the village, his knuckles rapped weakly against the wooden door. An old woman answered, her eyes soft and filled with concern as she looked at the weary traveler before her. Without a word, she reached out, gently taking his arm and guiding him inside. The warmth of the fire and the smell of stew enveloped him like a comforting embrace. "You must be starving," she said, her voice gentle. "Sit by the fire and rest while I prepare you a meal." The traveler, too weak to speak, nodded gratefully as tears welled up in his eyes. The old woman ladled a generous portion of stew into a bowl and handed it to him. He ate slowly, savoring each bite as if it were the most precious meal he had ever had. As the traveler finished, he looked up at the old woman, his voice cracking with emotion. "Why? Why did you help me when no one else would?" The old woman smiled, her eyes twinkling with wisdom. "When you have little, it is easier to share, for you understand the pain of having nothing. Kindness costs nothing, but it can change everything." The traveler felt a warmth in his heart that was even greater than the fire's heat. He realized that true wealth was not in possessions, but in the compassion we show to others. Moral of the story: in a world that often turns away, be the one who opens the door. The smallest act of kindness can mean the world to someone in need.